Hello and welcome to another episode of the SITREP. Today, Mike and I are down in Washington, D.C., trying to get an answer to a question that we've gotten via email many times, and that is, how is the PACT Act going to affect VA disability? Joining us today, we have the chief of the Veterans Experience Office, who has some inside knowledge that he'd like to share with all of you out there. He's a fellow veteran, Marine Corps. How long?
8 years, 99 to 07.
John, thank you so much for being here and taking the time to be with us on the SITREP. So in terms of the PACT Act, it is a little confusing. How many veterans are we talking about? Like, how many people can realistically expect to be affected by the PACT Act?
Yeah, so far we've had about, and thanks for having me, by the way. This is great, and it's great to finally meet y'all in person. I think what y'all do is important because it's getting the word out to so many veterans that are listening in. But we've had about 120,000 folks apply for claims for PACT-related presumptive conditions. So there's 23 of them. You can go to va.gov/PACT and find all of the presumptive conditions there, or you can call 1-800-MY-VA-411, and they'll always be able to help you. But that's a pretty significant number in just the last couple of months since August 10th, when everything was signed and into law. But really, the eligibility, what we're thinking is millions of veterans are now eligible, whether you're a Vietnam veteran who's exposed to Agent Orange, or you're a Gulf War veteran who's exposed to toxins in the Middle East, or someone who served in Iraq and Afghanistan in the last 20 years of war, exposed to burn pits or other toxins. And there are a few other instances that they're covered, but it could be up into the millions.
And so with regard to VA disability, I mean, what is the rollout going to be? What are we looking at?
Yeah, we're going to have to hire a lot of folks to help process claims. We're going to have to hire a lot more clinicians to serve veterans once they're eligible for healthcare. A lot of this takes a lot of work in ensuring that the word gets out to veterans. So this opportunities like this to share the word via a podcast, or getting the word out via our veteran service organizations, or in other channels. That's how we communicate with our customers, so that they know that they're eligible. But it is complex, and that's why we want to make sure that it's easy for customers, easier for veterans and their families to understand. So we're trying not to be as blatantly saying PACT Act, which a lot of folks don't really understand what that means. We're saying, were you exposed to toxins when you were deployed to Iraq or Afghanistan? Or were you exposed to Agent Orange if you served in Vietnam during these years? And trying to be much more specific that resonates with the different customer personas that we've developed, whether, like I said, you're a Vietnam veteran or Gulf War veteran or Iraq or Afghanistan veteran. So making it consumable for our customers is priority number one.
I know the VA has started the medical screening piece of all this. So if a veteran is, I was in Vietnam, I don't know if I was exposed to Agent Orange, what's the thought pattern? What should that veteran be thinking about? What should they do?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, we just started the screenings last week. So if you walk into any VA medical center or community-based outpatient clinic, 5 to 10 minutes max, you'll be able to get a screening and then talk about some of the presumptive conditions that you may have as a result of of your service tied to where you did serve on that deployment specifically. And then, I would also recommend at the same time, whether you're able to go and get a screening today or tomorrow, but go online, check out all the presumptive conditions, va.gov/PACT, and then file a claim and pull that evidence from whether that's your VA provider or your private care providers, and upload it. Myself, for example, when the first 3 presumptive conditions became available earlier this year, sinusitis, chronic sinusitis, rhinitis, and asthma, I filed for sinusitis and rhinitis. I've had chronic sinusitis and rhinitis since 2006, roughly, when I came home from my last deployment in East Africa, and just got my first my claim back at 0% rating. So now I'm able to be seen by VA medical centers and outpatient clinics for the rest of my life, or as long as I have symptoms for those, because I was exposed to toxins in Iraq.
And so the last question with regard to VA disability specifically, it's my understanding that the claims aren't going to be adjudicated, or they're not going to start until January 2023, right?
Right.
What should I be thinking about? How should I be preparing? Should I file a claim now? Should I do an intent to file? Like, what what should they be thinking about?
Yeah, I think it depends on who you are, where you served, whether you have not filed a claim yet for any of these conditions. You can file a new claim, or if you've already filed a claim for one of these conditions which wasn't eligible before, you can file what they call a supplemental claim, and then that will be considered, upon at the date. So I would say gather the evidence you have, whether that's from your private care providers. Like, for example, I went and got allergy shots for 3 years at a private sector ear, nose, and throat doctor and allergist. And I used those as the shot records and my diagnosis of chronic sinusitis and rhinitis as evidence to submit. And so you can do that on va.gov fairly easy. Or you can use an accredited veteran service organization as your representative. Or you can walk into a VA regional office too. But if you ever have questions, because our folks are standing ready to serve you at all the 50 VA regional offices across the country. But if you ever have any questions, you can always call 1-800-MY-VA-411.
Awesome. Well, thank you for the information, John. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
And all that information, links, everything will be provided in the video description below. Just check that out. And as always,
And for those who have served or are currently serving, thank you for your service.
Connect with the benefits you earned and deserve. Visit news.va.gov for current events, sign up for the Vet Resources e-newsletter, subscribe on YouTube for content like the SITREP and VR5, or follow VA on social media. Visit the video description below and get connected today.